See, all the way through history, we've had the same dynamic of the few controlling the many, all the way through every culture, every era, all of it, because the population is tricked, mesmerized into believing that authority has power over them. But authority only has the power that the people give to them, which they then recycle back in the form of what appears to be the power of authority. The fact is, the people have the power because they have the numbers. The real power is with the people, it's with the numbers. And so this is starting to dawn on more people. This is a nightmare for the elite, because they absolutely want people to believe authority has power. Because once you break out of that mind trick of where the power lies, then it's over. And so this is I think a pivotal time, a pivotal period in human history. This is an opportunity to bring about societal change that breaks that dynamic between people and government, because that dynamic is this: government imposes, government orders, and the people respond to that. But in a true free society, government, which should be just making the roads work, etc., and making society work in that way, government should be responding to the people. It shouldn't be the other way around. So when people say, well, we've got to start a new political party, or we've got to do this, we've got to do that, we've got to get into politics, I don't think there's any need to do that. Any new party gets squashed anyway. The thing is to make the politicians respond to us. One of the very encouraging things for me has been to see great numbers of people awakening to the fact the world's not run by the forces they thought we were running in. But so many I'm seeing have gone on to the next stage, and they've said things like, it's a spiritual war, isn't it? And I don't like using the word war and all that, but they're kind of going into this area where actually it all comes out of, all of it. What's fascinated me over the decades is to see how much is the same, how much is agreed, and that's hidden by what appears to not be agreed. And that's usually down to language and characters and what have you. So what I try to do all the time is get down to the very foundation of where things are coming from. So we can get lost in the complexity. The world looks very complex. It appears to be almost unimaginably complex and impossible to understand and follow. But what you're looking at when you do that is you're looking at the way things play out. I try to always look at where they play out from. And it doesn't matter if you are black, white, Jewish, Chinese, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're some extraterrestrial race. It doesn't matter about any of that, in the sense that your behavior comes from your consciousness. Your perceptions come from your state of consciousness. And therefore, everything is perception, consciousness perception playing out. And from perception comes behavior. We behave as we do because we perceive as we do. And the collective behavior of the human race we call human society. Human society is as it is because of human behavior, which comes from human perception, which is why this global cult, as I call it, its stadium, its absolute first and last target is human perception. Because if they can get that, they'll get your behavior. And if they get your behavior collectively, they'll get human society. What's clear when you look at religions of various kinds, and you look at the non-religious spirituality, and you look at the ancient tales of native societies and the accounts and everything, there is such a common theme. It's almost laughable. It's so common. They just use different names. So one of the great common themes is that there is a negative force seeking to impact negatively and manipulate and control human society from the hidden. But we don't see it because we can't see consciousness. We can only see with our five senses the way consciousness expresses itself through form in terms of behavior. And so you are looking at this low frequency consciousness. And what it's trying to do through its various forms, including expressions in form like this global cult, is to draw human consciousness into this frequency. So it can attach, it can possess, and it can perceptually influence. And what's been clear to me as I've studied this is that what we call fear is this Wetiko. I mean, I talked to people like Credo Muchwa, the Zulu shaman, who talks about this force actually bringing fear into the world. That there wasn't fear before, but it brought this fear in because it is fear. And it feeds off the fear, the anxiety, the low vibrational emotional states, the depression of humans. Because if you're going to feed off an energetic source, that has to be within the frequency band that you're operating in. Otherwise, like two radio stations, never the twain shall meet. So the idea is to pull humanity in these low frequency states. So if you look at society and the way this culture structured it, this of course goes back a long way. It's all about putting people in those low vibrational states. The last thing they want is joy, love, and expanded awareness. That's the last thing they want. That's their worst nightmare. And what I think you're seeing is blatantly in your face who is influenced by Wetiko and who isn't. And this is this so-called spiritual war that people talk about. It's a tussle of states of consciousness, one that is high vibrational and one that is low vibrational, seeking to bring the high vibrational into low vibrational states. So on one side, you've got people who are have so conceded their right to think, classic Wetiko, that they just do what authority tells them.